Alright, buckle down, because here is the story of how I accidentally built an app that's currently making me $5,000 per month and growing. So as you may or may not know, I've been pretty involved in the tree business. The tree business, what I mean here is the people who cut down, they fix, they prune, they take care of trees, and they're called arborists. I run Sweden's largest arborist retailer, which sells gear to these people. Another thing that I do, as you may also know if you follow me on YouTube, is that I make mobile apps. I've been making mobile apps since about 2019, and I've built some horrible ones, some pretty good ones, some semi-successful ones, and some successful ones. And most of them have been pretty well thought out. There's been a marketing plan behind it. I've launched it, I've hoped for the best, and I've had a lot of thought behind making the app. This app that I'm talking about was a complete accident. It all started off by me being on Instagram, and as I said, I'm pretty exposed to the tree world. And someone posted about a test that they're studying for. It's called the ISA Certified Arborist Exam. And what this does is that it essentially gives someone the accreditation to call themselves certified, and therefore they're a certified arborist. They can charge more for their services. Essentially what you're saying is that you're a professional. And they were asking for any good online resources for studying. Pretty much what I saw everyone recommend in the comments on this Instagram post was books. So physical books with small text that you had to carry with you. And then I thought back in the days where I used to be a student, and I thought, damn, I used to use a lot of flashcards. I really like the Quizlet flashcards. So first of all, I thought it can't be that hard to just scrape some of this information using building a simple web scraper in Python, scraping some of this information off of the internet and creating a Quizlet deck for it. But then I thought, I could probably make this a little bit more advanced, and I could build a mobile app for this. So that is what I set out to do. And I used Cursor AI, and I did this in a relatively short period of time. So I had this idea on the Thursday. I started building on Friday evening. And what I first did was that I took some of these older study guides, I scraped them using Python, and then I had ChatGPT look through this text and then write questions based on this text. So all of these questions are original, and they're coming from these study guides that I then purchased and were available online. It then processed this information, and I wrote questions and answers using this. I then put this in a pretty simple Flutter app where users hop onto the app and they get to try one set of questions, and then after that they will be able to either continue by purchasing a subscription, or they're not allowed to do any more tests. And I did this, I finished on the Sunday. I probably took a day to make this app, uploaded it to the App Store, went to bed. Monday evening it was approved, and I thought, wow, that was pretty cool. So I let it be. A week went by, someone subscribed, and I was like, damn, someone's actually paying for this. And then 2, 3, 4, 5 people subscribed, and I think in the first week I made like $80. For the other apps that I've built, it's been a very slow rise. But this one, it saw some traction straight away. So I thought, okay, damn, I've got something here. So I started making some small improvements. I saw that I had a couple of bugs. I made a small update, and 2 weeks after the first one, I had an app with some small updates that was pretty decent. Then a couple of more weeks went by. I continued making these like, $100 every couple of days. And it was starting to pick up a little bit, until someone had mentioned it in a Facebook group. And then it turns out that they have this study group for the people who are studying for this exam, and someone had mentioned this app inside of the study group, recommending it to someone else. After this, straight away, I saw overnight at this time, I saw it make $200-300 just from yearly subscriptions and monthly subscriptions alone. And I thought, wow, I'm really onto something here. So I hopped into this with the intention to add a value to this Facebook group. And I think that was one of the key factors too. I wasn't kicked out for self-promotion because I wasn't really promoting my stuff. I was helping out with some answers to some stuff that I happened to have in my bank. I was answering people, I was speaking to people. I started posting some free questions that people could practice with, and I started participating in this group. And slowly but surely, I saw how the number of people mentioning this app started to pick up. People started to recommend it in the comments of other ones, asking what are some good study tools. They started to post screenshots from the apps, asking for some clarifications on some of the questions, and they started mentioning it probably in person as well, but a lot on this Facebook group, which is quite trackable. A month and a half after I kind of went active in this Facebook group, I actually went from $800 to $3,000, which I'm currently sitting at while recording this video. This app has only been live for 3 months. While being $3,000 MRR, it's actually making me currently a little over $5,000. And this is growing day by day, just because people are purchasing the yearly subscription quite a bit. I only have 250 subscriptions right now, and I'm estimating that I could probably bottom this out at 2,500 subscriptions or something like that, based on the number of people who take this test every year, which is around 12,000. What's interesting was that it was never really my intention to build a successful app to this degree. I just wanted to create value for someone where I saw it and in an industry where I'm relatively involved and where I know a lot of people are struggling with some of this digitalization because there isn't a lot of resources for them. During this 3-month period of time, I've released 4 or 5 updates. I've added some questions, for example. I've been very open in the Facebook group too. If you have any recommendations or any feedback, I'm always open to hear it. Feel free to DM me or tell me here. And then after that, I've just started implementing some of this feedback. But I think a lot of it is that I started from a point where I wanted to create value for some people that I know, and obviously if you solve your own problem or your friend's problem, then it's more than likely that other people are facing this problem as well, which turns out to be the case here. And my plan now is to just continue updating this, see how long this way I can ride this wave, continue providing value for all of these people, and just seeing how long I can go. But a few of the reflections and a few of the thoughts that I had is 1, like I just mentioned, create value for someone. 2, use a hard paywall. So having a hard paywall as opposed to a trial is gonna increase your conversion rate so much. Because first of all, if you're faced with a hard paywall straight away, all of a sudden you have to make a choice. If you're, for example, studying for a test, you have to decide, and you're kind of faced with this, am I someone who invests in myself? Am I someone who invests in my career? Yes, no. And it becomes very apparent if you've taken a test, the free test that you get, maybe you didn't pass, maybe you didn't get that good of a score, you're like, okay, damn, I gotta practice. And then boom, you're faced with a hard paywall, then you have to decide. Number 3, continue to update. You know, you're never gonna know. Continue to update and make improvements to this particular application so that it becomes more valuable to the people that you're creating value to. 4, copy, paste. And what I mean here is that from this app, I have actually pivoted this and made 5 other separate apps so far that are some within the tree industry, some within other industries that have the same layout and they're solving the same type of problem, but for a slightly different audience. And some of them have done quite well. A couple of them are sitting at, $100 MRR, and some are sitting like at a couple of hundreds MRR, and some are sitting on 0 MRR, obviously. But I've taken some of this and I've pivoted to some degree. I think that you need to be open-minded to that you can, 1, try a lot of stuff. Maybe it works for one audience, maybe it doesn't work for one audience. But once you've built something that you think is a solid idea, don't feel scared to pivot into other slightly different niches with this particular application. And my 5th and final one is go simple. All software doesn't have to be complex. In a world where we're ending up on super complex landing pages, and I've definitely built a lot of super complex, sexy landing pages. That's not what I'm saying. I've been the perpetrator of this too. But the world doesn't have to be super complex. You don't have to have an incredibly nice UI design or a very complex app with a bunch of animations to solve someone's fundamental problem. You can do that with a pretty simple design, and if you do it well enough, people are going to be willing to pay for it. So those are some of my reflections, and that is the story of how I built a successful app that is currently sitting at $5,000 per month and growing pretty much by accident, and some of the reflections that I made along the way. If you like this type of content, then feel free to subscribe. Also, don't forget to join my WAP community where you can actually get your hands on one of these templates for this particular app if you want to build a similar flashcards app yourself. I'm linking all of my apps down below, also in the app portfolio page. You can also create your own app portfolio if you're an indie developer. It's my own product, so you're definitely supporting me a little bit by using it, and it doesn't cost anything except your email. So definitely check that out. If there's anything in particular you want to see, let me know down below and I'll get to it. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.